Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joel. I'm the CEO of 4 Degrees, and today I want to talk to you about the top 10 things you need to know about the extended eviction moratorium. And this information is relevant as of last Friday, the 17th of April. What you need to know about the governor's new proclamation is, number one, this applies to residential, commercial, and mobile homes. And I know there's some of us out there who have commercial and residential real estate, but just understand that it applies pretty much across the board with all real estate. Number two is remove any late fees or other charges for non-payment of rent after February 29th. So basically what we're doing here at 4 Degrees is starting March 1st, we will not have any late fees, any NSF fees, lease breaking fees. Basically any and every fee is going to be taken off of a tenant's ledger and off their responsibility. So it's important that you're aware of that also. Number three is return holding fees to those applicants who are unable to move in due to COVID-19. So basically what this is telling us is that we cannot hold a resident who places a holding fee on a unit and then chooses to not execute that lease. And so it's basically saying we're not allowed liquidated damages in that scenario, so we need to return that full amount. Number four is do not assess rent to those tenants who vacate due to COVID-19. And I know this one's an interesting one, and a date that you have to keep in the back of your mind is March 1st. So anything after March 1st, we cannot assess that rental fee to the tenant. Anything before the 1st, we can. And so also, one of the big things that we're doing right now is we're recording everything, so all of our communication with the residents, the payment plans, putting all that on record. So then that way, if there is an instance where a tenant moves out but they're still delinquent on rent, just because we can't send them to collections now doesn't mean that we can't do it in the future. And that's something that we're basically building the case for. Number five is no rent increases. So for those of our residents who are currently in a lease, we are not going to be increasing those rents. This also, just to be clear, if a unit becomes vacant now, this does not apply to what we put that unit back on the market for. So number six is do not serve 14-day notice to pay or vacate, which we've already eliminated doing. We're not serving notices. Also, do not serve a notice to terminate tenancy, which we're not sending notices to terminate any of our residents' tenancy. But what that also doesn't take into account is when a tenant wants to terminate their tenancy, that's still okay for us to do, and we're still, on the date that they want to terminate, the next business day, we're going to go in and do our normal move-out inspection and turn the unit that way. Number eight is do not threaten your tenant with an eviction or legal action, which for us here, that seems like common sense, but that's something that we're also abiding by. Number nine is over-communicate, and what they're trying to drive home there is communication with the residents during this kind of up and down time. And so the way that we've been able to do that is through email, through text, through phone call, connecting with residents who are going through a time of basically financial insecurity. And so we just want to make sure that they're aware that we're all going through this together. And kind of the mindset that we're taking is we're staying away from financially harming individuals as well as financially gaining as a business. So there needs to be this win-win for both sides there. And finally, number 10 is offer a reasonable repayment plan. This is something that we've started since the beginning of the month. And what's also interesting there is how do you define reasonable? So what we've been basically guided on, or the advice that's been given to us, is let the resident set the payment plan. Obviously on our end, we're going to have parameters of what right looks like. And if they're going to propose, $5 a month for the rest of their term, it's not reasonable. But there are ways that we can help them get to a point where they can catch themselves up in rent. One of the biggest pieces here is educating residents that rent it doesn't go away. They still have to address it at some point or another. And so we just want to make sure that we're in the trenches with them, figuring out what that plan looks like for themselves going forward. Another thing too is talking about property taxes. One of the biggest reasons that we increase rent is to help compensate for increased property taxes. And even though the county has delayed those property taxes, they haven't rolled off or given any kind of decrease or even kept it stable. There's still an increase coming. So that's also something that's important that you're aware of. So for right now, this is the most up-to-date information that we have. I feel like just about every other day there's more information coming out, and as soon as I get it here at 4 Degrees, I'll try my best to push it out to you. And like always, feel free to send me an email or shoot me a phone call if you have any specific questions. But I really appreciate all of your support through this very interesting and unique time. So until next time, stay safe and stay healthy. Thanks.